Hello Star Wars and Unboxing fans, welcome to a different style of episode of Darth Tuba's Star Wars Unboxing Show. I'm your host Darth Tuba. So today, in lieu of doing an unboxing, I have done videos in the past where I've kind of showed off my collection a little bit, kind of walked around the rooms a little bit to show you. But today I thought I would try something a little different and kind of break things down to a little more specifics. And maybe show you a few things that I've decided to keep in the box and for certain reasons. I've already done some of these and I'll kind of skip around them. But part of the questions is to, you might wonder why I'm doing this. Well, there's a couple of reasons. Number one, as far as things that I want to unbox, there aren't, an unending amount of supplies of things that are available to be unboxed. I have a few things on the pipeline. I have a few things that are on order, okay, and there are things that I'm going to make toy runs and look for things to unbox, for future episodes, as we move forward. But it's not unending, I, like all collectors, are on a limited budget. So, and I have no sponsorship to, aside from a friend's donation, which I've been pacing and making orders to bring stuff in. So at the moment, I just wanted to kind of go through some of the items that are here. All right, so I hope you enjoy this. I've seen other people do this online, so it's kind of cool. This is basically just one of many bookcases, bookshelves. First, I want to talk about, for people, one of the biggest issues that collectors have is how to display, how to put things up. And you know what? I am not the best example of how to do that. I mean, I have seen people that have, done amazing jobs with, finished basements with recessed shelving and hardwired lighting and dimming and everything else, and it's phenomenal and it's fantastic. If you have the budget for something like that, by all means, that is a better way to go. But if not, if you are on a limited budget and your budget is mainly meant for the actual collecting itself, you have to come up with creative ways. One way that's creative is if you look in places of business that have displays. This wooden shelf right here, okay, is actually it is actually a display piece that, if I'm not mistaken, it was actually part of a company. I purchased it from actually a friend of mine who had a kind of a knick-knack shop. It sold Department 56, snow globes, holiday ornaments, that type of thing. And eventually she decided to close her doors. So I helped her move, and she offered me this piece, actually 3 of them, for a very reasonable price. I think I paid like $100 for all 3. And what the really cool thing about it, it's basically like a glass shelf, and it's a wooden frame. But the wooden frame, and you can't really see it down here, it includes some storage space at the bottom. But the nice thing about it is it all comes apart. Moving displays, especially glass displays, is always a tremendous challenge. So if you are in the opportunity, if you get an opportunity to purchase a display, a glass display, tread carefully, because I can't tell you how hard it is to move something like that and not have it crack or break. It's not just about, the large bumping and jarring and everything like that you might get in a car or a truck when you're trying to move something, but it's also about moving it just by, 2 people by hand, getting it off the truck, downstairs, around, in challenging spaces. So this was great because everything just came apart and it was just easy to move from place to place. And I believe the unit was actually something that one of the things, maybe it was Department 56, maybe it was Hummel, maybe it was, something like that, a collectible company that sold stuff like that, I guess they offered to either give to the salesperson these displays for free, or after, they purchased enough product to sell, or maybe they had an option to buy it in addition. So anyway, it was really a very nice unit. So if you look in stores or places that are going out of business, or even just distributing how they're going to do their displays, they may be trying to unload displays. So take a look. You can probably find stuff like that for very cheap. All right, but enough about the display. Let's talk about some of the stuff in here. I know we've gone over some of these, okay, so I will kind of bop around. I'm pretty sure we did the Shadow Scout, but I will talk about it real briefly anyway. This is, as you can see, a San Diego Comic-Con exclusive. You can see that's what the sticker means. A lot of times the San Diego Comic-Con exclusives, I've never been to San Diego Comic-Con. I'll be perfectly honest. I love conventions like Star Wars conventions and Comic-Cons and things of that nature. But it is if you're someone who has any sensory overload issues, okay? Which honestly, most people would probably have it a little bit. So that is a true issue with Comic-Con, especially San Diego Comic-Con, because I think it's something like over 100,000 people go to it, and the dealer rooms are huge, and there's people everywhere, and it's very tight, and it's just, I've seen videos of it. I'm like, I said, no way, I can't handle that. If you can't handle that, some people love it. They just love the energy and just being next to so many other uber fans of the pop culture genre. It's fantastic, and I get that. Believe me, I do. But it's just really hard. But a lot of times, companies will sell these online as kind of a, in tandem with the I think the toy being released in the show. And the other problem is though that the shows oftentimes these exclusives can sell out so quickly that it's kind of sad. But the Shadow Trooper, again, it's a Shadow Scout Trooper. It's essentially a biker scout and scout trooper painted black. And I get that some people just think it's cheap and a cheap move by Hasbro and Lucasfilm to do something like that. Honestly, I don't mind it so much. Again, as long as it's in a small amount. I'm not a completist, so I kind of pick and choose what I like. I like the Shadow idea. In fact, in some ways, I wonder why they didn't think of this sooner, because when you think about it, why would you want your stormtroopers and all your troopers to be in white out in the forest? It's great for the snow, but for the forest and for any other environment, it would make more sense to kind of color coordinate for camouflage, but whatever. So there's your Shadow, and your Shadow Scout's got a nice Imperial cog on the back. I just like the display piece. I like it as is, okay? It doesn't really need to be open, okay? That doesn't mean I won't open it someday, but for now, there it is, okay? So it's kind of nice. Obviously, the other problem with keeping things in the box is the dust can get on the boxes. And I will say that when it comes to the plastic, this is a very cheap plastic. It is designed to be opened, okay? So when you don't open it, you run the risk of damaging the box. But so far, this one's holding up together, so good job on that. We've already talked about the Tarkin thing. I'll show it again. The Tarkin room, just a great display. Why would you even want to open this? I mean, I would rather have these guys sitting at this cardboard table like this rather than being pulled out. The only issue I have with it, and it's a minor issue, I didn't mention it on the episode I showed this, is that they're all standing. They're standing behind the chairs. There are no real chairs here, guys. This is not an actual display. So if they ever made, or even if I found online like a 3D printed conference table that I could purchase, I might consider opening this up so I can set up a display. But then again, the other thing is that it's really compact, and it's, it doesn't take up much room, so it's easy to display. All right, so there you go with that. Okay, I think we've talked about the Aunt Beru and Uncle Owen, so I'll just kind of show you that real quick. Again, the base is a plastic, the base is a plastic. The homestead itself, like the Adobe-like hut or whatever, is a plastic piece, and you have, of course, the moisture evaporator here on the end, but in the figures. But the backdrop and everything is cardboard, and from what I understand, the plastic is pretty cheap, so you got to be careful. I've seen it, and of course, the plastic, I mentioned this too. The plastic here is already breaking, so this might end up being unboxed on its own. So, kind of stacking things up here. All right, so what other ones we have? We have one of our Evolutions packs. There's a few of those in here. I don't know if we'll get to all of them today, but the Evolutions pack is kind of cool. For those who don't know, Evolutions was a series that basically they kind of showed what the evolution of either a character or a type of character, perhaps a rebel soldier, a pilot, an Imperial officer, and kind of what they go through. This is actually a little later on in the Evolutions pack, I believe. So we start off with Ceci Eris, which is an X-Wing Rogue Squadron. It's a Twi'lek right here. And then we have Kessis Omnis, which is from The Empire Strikes Back. Again, the character was there somewhere, but you never got his name. And then K.R. Farlander from Return of the Jedi. You can see, if you look closely, you can see the definite change in their looks. Okay, obviously you'd have to be a pretty savvy fan to know about X-Wing Rogue Squadron. To be honest with you, I'm not a fan. I mean, I am a fan, but I'm not a person who follows either the video games or the comics. I dabble, touch on them here and there. I know they exist. I know, where they come from. I know what X-Wing Rogue Squadron is. Just it's never been something that I've been, jumped at. So. Again, another thing that they did was they just created a couple of scenes, which in a lot of ways I like the way they did this. They set it up like a little diorama. Now, I do want to point out that there is a sticker on here, and that's the pet peeve of every collector, whether you're buying something in the box to take out or not. I hate the fact that some companies, some stores, slap an old, for those old school people that, or should I say, those youngins watching. Back in the old day, they used to have this thing. It looked kind of like a gun, but what it was a price gun, and it had a roll of stickers in it. And you would just set on the back of it the price that you wanted to do, and then you would just walk around to all of your stock and just ka-ching, 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 pull the trigger as it was coming out, and you would put the price tag on every item. And that was great if you were buying a can of tuna, or buying a box of cereal or something that you fully intended to open up, use, and throw away or recycle. But not with toys. Toys can sometimes be purchased for collecting, but or to be opened up and played with, and sometimes they're collected, so you never know. Yet some companies like KB, even Target, has been guilty of this, of throwing the sticker right on the box. So unfortunately, this company, I don't even know who did it. It might have been KB, KB Toy Hobby. They did that, and unfortunately, kind of defaces it a little bit. And if I ever unbox these, okay, great. I will unbox them, and then you don't have to worry about the sticker. But here's the problem. Look at who's in this. Look at who we have in this thing. We have Boba Fett, we have Darth Vader, we have Chewbacca, Han Solo Bespin, and Leia Bespin. Right? Great. Pretty much every one of these figures has already been released. Either the exact same figure has been released on a card in a different time period, or it's a repaint or a repack or something that's with slight variation. But essentially, I mean, come on. Boba Fett, Darth Vader, Chewie, Han, Leia. You put Luke in this, and you've got the top 6 figures that probably are made and sold. So as a collector, I I already have these guys loose. I have a ton of Chewbaccas. I have a ton of Darth Vaders. I don't need to have an unending, unlimited row of Darth Vaders. So I decided to keep this one in the package. So someday, I know that you can take some rubbing alcohol and different things and very gently remove the sticker. I'll get around to doing that at some point. So, but that will most likely stay in the package. Okay, some more of them. Here's another one. Got the they call these battle packs, by the way, if I didn't say that. Jedi training on Dagobah. You got Yoda. You got R2. On both Yoda and R2 on top of cardboard boxes. You've got Spirit Obi-Wan, Luke, and Vader. Okay, so near the tree, which is the dark side of the Force place, the little testing grounds for Luke. Okay, again, really nice little display and very common figures. So if you find something like this online, I mean, I will say this, that when you bought them new, it was a nice little thing because there was, these generally could run, let's see, if they were maybe they ran like $20 or $25, $24.95, and at the time the figures were you buy them, they were like $6 each. So, you do the math, there's $30 worth of figures in here, and you got to pay them for $24, $25. An excellent, for many, it was an excellent gift to give to kids who were just going to open up and play with them. So that was a cool thing too. So again, but the displayness of this is cool. The only problem is you need a lot of blank wall space. As you can see here, if you can look at what I'm doing, I'm actually pulling them out from one behind the other, so you don't always see them. But I kind of rotate them in and out, so you can kind of do that. Here's another one. This is from Star Wars: The Force Unleashed. Anybody remember that? For those who may not, it was a video game back in the day when the Revenge of the Sith was your last movie ever. How weird does that sound, right? Because we've had, 4 movies since then? So you never know, right? And not to mention 2 cartoon series. But here you have, I believe there was a play area, play level in The Force Unleashed, which is a video game that I have played, by the way. But there is a level where, I think it's early on in the level, where when Vader first becomes Vader, he's going out and purging the, not the Jedi, but that's a different one. He's going on defense or on attack in Kashyyyk, which is the Wookiee planet. And there's an episode where you have to go in and kill Wookiees and stuff like that. So here we have 2 Wookiees, which I believe were both released as part of the Revenge of the Sith line. You have the 2 Stormtroopers and Darth Vader. So again, common figures that you saw, particularly if you were collecting during Revenge of the Sith. I do have to say it's so interesting that if you look at the Wookiees, in fact, let me kind of put them both up in comparison here, because the figures are. Let's look at Chewbacca. right? On over here, and over here, let's look at the 2 Wookiees. Get a little closer. Look at that. Look, Chewbacca's kind of scrawny for being 200 years old. I don't know, but these guys were huge. So, there you go. Although, if you look at Chewbacca in Revenge of the Sith, I think they kind of muscled him up too as well. But, again, a nice piece. A nice little display piece. Okay? Moving on, we have... Oh, there was actually a couple of these I might have around. They're called The Hunt for Grievous. And it's essentially... You can see the cardboard backing in there is one of the Republic troop drop-off vehicles. I can't remember the exact name of it. But then you have a bunch of clones. Okay? And this is a great, what they call... Collectors often call it troop building. Troop building is, when you want to collect... You don't want to... When you're collecting a series of figures, sometimes you don't want to have just one Stormtrooper or one Clone Trooper or one First Order Stormtrooper. You want to build it up and have a bunch. Build your armies, if you will. So this is a great way to build your armies. Again, 5 troopers, a little discounted price. And again, most Star Wars items you could probably find in a discount bin after a while. So cool with that. Okay, another one here. This is the Betrayal on Felucia. Okay. Oh my God, that was a sad, sad, sad point in the film. I call it for Revenge of the Sith. For those who don't remember or recall, in Revenge of the Sith, when Anakin turns to Darth Vader, around that same time, Darth Sidious he's going to activate his plan that turns the tide on everything and shuts it all down and puts him in absolute power. And one of the things he has to do is get rid of the Jedi. So what does he do? He sends Anakin Skywalker to the temple with a squad of clone troopers to take out all the Jedi there. Okay, great. But what about all the Jedi around the galaxy? The clones have a chip in their head, and when it's called Order 66, and when he says execute Order 66, every clone trooper everywhere in the galaxy, whom by the way are all serving under a Jedi general or a Jedi member. Every single clone trooper turns on their Jedi, and they're just it's a switch turns on. The Jedi are now traitors; they must be dealt with. So this is just one of the many that they call it. I call it the Coppola Godfather scene at the end of each Godfather movie, particularly the first 2, but I think even the third one had it. There was just a moment where all these different people were taken, all the different enemies were taken out at the same time, and that's kind of what happened here. They took out all the Jedi, and it just went from one to another, and John Williams had this tragic score, and it was just horrible. And poor Aayla Secura was one of the sad ones that just was walking with her clones, everything was great, hunky-dory, and then boom, down she goes. So, sad, 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 but a nice pack, nonetheless, a nice little image. Alright, a couple more things we have here. Let's see, we have a couple of things that just kind of found their way in the back there. These are two of the Force Awakens. And this is Finn in his uniform, in his Stormtrooper uniform with some battle armor, as well as a First Order TIE Fighter pilot with a little battle armor. I mean, for play features, I like this. Unfortunately, they don't. This is a lot of display space. Okay, a lot of display space for basically what is a figure with a chest plate. So these you can probably look forward to an opening and unboxing in a future episode. So in fact, I'm going to keep them over here on the side to remind myself to do that. All right, we have this. We have a, oh my goodness, Silver Anniversary, 1977 to 2002. So 25 years, which is amazing when you think now it's 40 plus years. Luke Skywalker and Princess Leia, it's just basically recreating a scene when they're about to cross the chasm, swing across. It's a nice little display piece. It comes with a little base and a backdrop. Well, the backdrop's cardboard. But, and again, we have the silly price sticker thing. This one's going to be a little harder to remove because there's also a Star Wars sticker here. And to rub something on here could force me to have to, take off some of that sticker, which I don't want to do. So, we'll see if we end up opening that one or not. Okay, we have a couple of more Force Unleashed packs here. This is the commemorative collection. They had a lot of commemorative collections, okay, guys? And that's something, that I've become very much aware of. Is that commemorative is a fancy title for, pay me money and we'll give you more figures. But this is a special group, okay? So for those that are, I will say this. For those that are out there collecting with the desire to make some money, yeah, try the stock market. you will do far, far better in the stock market, all right? And I say that, you know, loving this as I do. I say that because this is not meant to be something, these are toys that are meant to be purchased and enjoyed. They're not meant to be toys, they're not coins, they're not meant to be something that is supposed to be, you know, bought and sold like a commodity. Okay, so don't get into this for that. All right, and I know that some people do it anyway, and you know, yeah, some of the vintage stuff does sell for a lot of money, but just be aware of that. So we have the Force Unleashed. We have Darth Vader and two of his Incinerator Troopers. This is a Walmart exclusive, and I believe this is also a Walmart exclusive. And this is Palpatine with Shadow Stormtroopers. Okay, so that's cool. And I don't know if these were actually released separately. So these might actually, while they are commemorative, and you know, they might, I think there is a chance that these have been, in fact, unique figures to this line. So, okay, we have another one of these Force Awakens. We have the Flame Trooper, which poor thing barely made it any screen time, with a piece of armor that you don't see in the show. But a lot of people get upset at that. A lot of collectors are like, why do we have to have that? Why do we have to have this piece of plastic? And it gives them an excuse to charge more money for it. And I get that. I do. I really do. And there's a lot of collectors who put a lot more time than I do, a lot more research into, you know, the toy creation practices of Star Wars and of Lucasfilm and of Hasbro and how they go about marketing it. And I understand all that too. And I do respect everybody's opinions about this. And there's a lot of people that are talking these days about how the whole collecting franchise, the whole collecting thing is dead. And I do want to just say, guys, that my thought on that is, look, collecting, there will always be collectors. There will always be collectors. I had a friend, actually it was a coworker, who was a very little old lady way back in the days. I don't think she's around anymore, but she was a wonderful person, and she collected in her life. Her big thing, and mind, this was about 25, 30 years ago that I knew her, and I worked with her. And her big thing, Nelson Eddy and Jeanette MacDonald. Now, for those who don't know, those are singers and actors from the bygone days of the MGM Hollywood musicals, like the precursor to things like Gene Kelly and Fred Astaire and Judy Garland. This is before them, so this is going back a long, long time. And this woman collected everything that had to do with Nelson Eddy and Jeanette MacDonald. And I went to visit her house once, and she had a small little studio apartment. But it was filled with just like this, but with Jeanette MacDonald and Nelson Eddy dolls and figurines and plates and note cards and books and books and books and recording after recording after recording, album after album. It was wonderful, and it was wonderful to see her be this passionate about it. And guess what? There is no Nelson Eddy, Jeanette MacDonald celebration. Okay, this is something that she collected her whole life. It brought her joy. This was before eBay or the internet, so chances are, if she had, you know, lived about 30 years later, she would have probably gotten even more into it and found more people that shared a similar experience. So whether or not there's a ton of product out being sold, or there's a limited amount of product, or there's no product, there has been established so much collectability now in past stuff. Look at the stuff I'm showing you here. Okay, so there's always going to be collecting. Whether it's brand new or not will remain to be seen. I'm sure that Hasbro will continue to sell, and there will be other things that come our way. But if it changes, it changes. Okay, there's still tons and tons of stuff. I mean, I'm only showing you one shelf. Okay, here's another thing that we can get to. We have some cars, and let's talk about Disney. Okay, this is a Disney Parks exclusive. Okay, meaning that you only get them in Disney Parks, maybe in the Disney stores. But, this is when they did a Cars crossover. And I will probably do an unboxing with this as well. Okay, that actually got tucked away in the back there, because I have been opening up the Cars because I do like them. I do think they look really cool. I'm just hoping, the only thing I want is for Disney Parks to create the Mack truck. I want to create, so what the Cars toys have done is they've created a Mack truck that you can display all of your cars in. You can put them in like a clear side. You can put them all in there, and it even expands upwards, so you can even put more in. It looks awesome, but I don't want to get that because I don't want it to be for just cars. I want it to be Star Wars cars. So I'm hoping that they make Mack into something, like the Millennium Falcon or something, you know, like with the Mack truck. And then the same toy, and I would actually put all the Cars toys in there. That would be epic. So hopefully somebody at Disney or Lucasfilm or Hasbro is listening or watching or gets this shared with them. Cool idea. All right, so I know that we've gotten through one shelf here. Let me just kind of talk through a few more. All right, now I know this is running a little long, but as I said, these are things that I might or may not open. You know, there's something that I said I definitely will. Other things I'm kind of thinking about. Here's a Target exclusive. This is the Assault on Ryloth. Okay, and this is based on the cartoon series. Boy, when that cartoon series came out, I was thinking, oh my god, they can make a toy series about literally every episode, which is they basically did. So that's pretty cool. Again, this is a 4-piece battle pack. So this is probably one of those later ones. I might have to look. I'd have to look at the exact thing here. Do I have access to this? All right, let's see. This year is, where's my years? The first one I showed you is 2008, and this one is 2009. My gamble here is that this was probably the same price. That's Evolutions, but this was probably the same price. Oh no, so the other battle packs were definitely younger. There's the Revenge of the Sith. So this was probably the same price as those, but they had 5 figures. This one had 4 figures, and it was the same price. Yay, inflation! But hey, it's okay. So we get that. We collect because we love. I think I showed you this one in the past. Another one in battle pack with Luke, Ben, R2, 3PO. The coolest thing about this is the table with the hologram Leia on it. And again, for that reason, I keep this whole thing in display like this, because it's a perfect little container, you know? It's like looking at old dioramas. Okay, we have another Clone Wars cartoon scene with Jabba. But this is of course, the kind of the Jabba from the Clone Wars. I like the evolution of Jabba. I like how Jabba has kind of evolved and done different things. And we have one of his translator droid and his little Deus side thing with the pipe. So that's cool. Okay, I'm getting my pile here is getting big. All right, here's some other ones I love. And this is one I've heard that they might be talking about remaking. This is the Max Rebo band. Now, for those that don't already know this, a lot of you already do. I'm a music teacher by trade and a musician, and one of my favorite parts of the show of the Star Wars movies are when my love for Star Wars and my love for music can combine. So when they have source music in the show, like with musicians, like the Cantina band from Episode 4 and this band from Episode 6, I'm all over that. And I'm one of the few people that loved the revision where the special edition. It seems like I'm one of the few people. Or let's put it this way: I think a lot of people liked it or had no opinion either way about it, and then the people that didn't like it, decided to be the loudest voice in the room, and the room called the internet, and made their point. I understand, you don't like messing with something if it worked. I get that. But as a musician, I liked seeing a larger band with backup vocals and more of a horn section. It kind of reminded me more of the Blues Brothers, So here we have Max Rebo, we have Cy Snoodles. I don't know the names of the other ones. I'm going to read them from the back here. We have Barkwind Dan, who's the Bith. We have, Droopy McCool. We already know Droopy. Those were the 3 original. And then we have, oh boy, this is Dota. Oh my god. Dota Bodonaguido. Which is one of the horn players. And it's the Rhodian. So, same thing as Greedo. So, get through a few more here. Here's the other part of the band. These are all the new special edition characters. We have the little harmonica player, which is Rappertoonie. I like that. Then we have the female Greedo, which is Griata. We have the other backup singer, the one that kind of went with Sny Soodles, and that's Joe Yowza. We have the orange-haired alien Ristal, and Lenny is the other Twi'lek. So again, a nice thing, and you can actually back up the 2 cardboard pieces together to make it a stage, which I might actually do in a future episode. We'll see. Okay, so what are we doing here? Well, we finished up that shelf. Let's just get through a few more on the bottom here. Thanks for bearing with me. We just thought I would share this. And again, I'll get back to unboxing episodes too, but I also wanted to just try something a little different. Okay, I think this will be the last one I do for this episode though, because we'll save the other shelves for another episode, and we have plenty of bookcases to go around. This, of course, Bounty Hunters. Again, so nice to have them all situated right here in one place with Vader, ready to go. I mean, come on. That's a cool thing. That's something to me deserves to not be unboxed because it's just, I'll never be able to put those figures anywhere where they look as cool as this. So for that, I appreciate the work that Hasbro has done. This is a PX Previews exclusive. I don't even know if that place is around anymore, but in any case, that should do it for this a little longer, but I don't know, to me, kind of cooler episode of Darth Tuba Star Wars Unboxing Show. As I said, I'll go around the rooms. I'll show you some other stuff as we move. But don't worry, I'll be back to unboxings too. I'm just going to kind of balance things out as we move forward. Okay, just waiting for things to come in the mail, and also waiting for product to become available in the stores. Frankly, there's just been, I mean, aside from Lego, there just hasn't been a great amount of stuff. There are a few things, and I will make some purchases and show them. I do have the next episode, or one of the next episodes, I want to do my final Toys R Us unboxing, because Toys R Us, at the time of this recording, is roughly 8 days away from closing its doors for good. And I did get there last week, and I was able to check some stuff out and even make a couple of purchases, some discount purchases, mostly just because I wanted to make one more purchase from Toys R Us before they close, because I'm never going to get a chance to do that again, most likely. So, that'll do it again. Thank you so much for watching. Like, subscribe, share, hit the notification button, tell people about the channel. Check me out on Instagram and Twitter at Darth Tuba, and follow me on, or like the Darth Tuba Star Wars Unboxing page on Facebook. Email me darthtuba77@gmail.com, and we will be doing some more giveaways. So until then, thank you so much, and we'll see you next time. May the Force be with you.